Alan Butler, Adventure Vehicle Reviews. We're here at the 2017 SEMA show at the Chevrolet booth. We're here with Mark. Mark, tell us a little about yourself, what you do here at Chevrolet.
All right, my name is Mark Dickens. I am the Executive Director for Performance Variants, Performance Parts, and Accessories.
I like that.
Engineering, Chevrolet, and GM as a whole.
Excellent.
Yep.
Behind us we have a Duramax diesel stuffed into this Colorado, but this Colorado sits a little bit taller than what I'm used to. Why is that?
Well, this is a concept vehicle that we partnered with American Expedition Vehicles, and it's a concept vehicle that's based off our ZR2 truck.
Okay.
As you've probably seen, the ZR2 is a really strong off-road performing truck that we just came
Right.
out with in the market.
Right. It's a front and rear lockers. It's got the Multimatic suspension for going high speed over the desert. Stuff we're a fan about, but now there's some increased attributes about this one. Now this is an AEV vehicle. We got a great paint job on us. Can you walk us around a little bit and show us a little bit about the truck?
Sure, I'd love to. So one of the things that's critical on any overland or off-road capability is, you know, ground clearance, ramp angles, departure angles, but as you well know, that front end that's going to take the first impact, you know, skid plates and steel bumpers, and this is one of the things that American Expedition Vehicles does really well, I think. It's really high quality, very, very beautiful, but very robust steel bumpers. And so in these bumpers roll really nice into a very thick skid plate that runs, and now we've got almost the entire vehicle underneath covered, whether it be the fuel tanks protected or any key components protected, so you can get up on top of those rocks and just drag it right over it.
Absolutely. How fitting to have the diesel with all that torque to pull it along. You see you got a factory 55 winch hook up front, the winch, and we'll go around the back. Sure. There's a bunch of stuff in the back too. Sliders, rock sliders.
Yeah, and so as we were talking about ground clearance, you know, we've lifted the ZR2 up from the stock. Already lifted, ZR2 is lifted 2 inches over
a normal Colorado.
Regular Colorado. So we've gone up another inch to get a little bit more ground clearance with this vehicle. And I'll go through in a minute all the suspension components and what it takes to do that.
Okay, great. So, this thing's ready to go. Got a high lift jack, extra fuel cells, full size spare in the rear, and a little bit of space extra left over. I like it. Even some body protection here too. Is this a rear bumper offered by AEV as well?
Yeah, this is all, you know, AEV concept parts, and now they do a steel bumper with rear shackles. So if you get stuck, easy to latch onto and pull.
Right.
And it's really nice. So they've got these integrated air compressors and fresh water right here.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. So you know how when you get to the trailhead, you want to air down, and you know,
yeah.
when it goes time to get out of there, you don't have to get a tire pump out.
This is a cool insert they did right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll head over to the suspension components. Now these you can pick up at
these are concepts as well, and just a little explanation of what concept means to us is we bring them to the SEMA show, and we get a chance to actually get some customer feedback.
Okay.
And at Chevrolet, concept to production is kind of our mission.
Okay.
So
here's my feedback. I like it. I already like where you guys are going with this. Increased wheel travel, increased clearance for going over the rough stuff, and some more quality suspension components. Just let's see what you got.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we got an additional inch of lift out of the suspension, but we also picked up 20% travel.
20%.
Yeah,
more.
and this
that's
a single rate leaf spring, which is, you know, very, very tuned for the off-road. We also have one of the things that you mentioned, the Multimatic Dss B Damper, which is revolutionary. It's really it's something that we brought to the off-road from the on-road stuff. You know, with our Z28 had it, our Z011LE.
Yeah.
But this has got the bypass ports in it and the tuning that the ZR2 has right from the factory, but this damper actually is lengthened to pick up that extra travel that we have, as well as you saw Chad Hall was racing a ZR2.
The red truck.
The red truck, yes. All this component set's on that, so we actually had Chad Hall's help to tune this damper, so this has a little bit of Chad Hall's thumbprint.
Good. That's very good.
One of the other things is an anti-wrap bar. So when you start getting a lot of suspension travel out of a leaf spring, it's got to start worrying about the axle motion. So adding a third link here to kind of keep that action wrap up.
Beefy too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really helps for power hop.
Okay.
And with that, it bolts to the rear differential. So we have a larger diff cover that actually takes on more fluid capacity, which helps keep the temps down.
Now, does this have an additional thickness for if it gets bumped up on a rock?
Yes.
Okay,
and so as I mentioned before, we have skid plates down the whole length of this thing. So we have an axle skid as well.
Right.
We have the rear shocks. We have skids underneath the rear shocks as well. So I mean, that whole concept of just running a rock down the side of it is well comprehended.
Very smart looking. We'll go around the backside.
So I get into more of the tough stuff.
And I was telling you a story about an aluminum drive shaft that I had on a personal rig that I got wadded up on a rock, but now we got the steel, which is obviously stronger, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it's there for. We harden the drive line, and I think you hit it right there. You don't want to find yourself out. Just make that 1 inch movement wrong, and
most
find
of us
yourself balled up. So.
Drive an off-road vehicle, we gotta take it home. Most of us don't put it on a trailer and take it home. You gotta drive that sucker an hour back to your house, and if you screw up your drive shaft, well, that's gonna make for a long ride home or a tow truck drive, which could be very expensive.
And we didn't forget about the front half shafts too. When you start putting large tires on a truck, you know, you're starting to really drive some torque in the half shaft. So what we did is come out with a higher capacity half shaft, but we're also getting more suspension travel. So we need that higher articulation angle. And with this is a really neat half shaft. It actually has a plunging capability in the middle of it. So it's splined in the middle so that when you get that large travel, it's extending and contracting.
Excellent.
So
big old bump stops here. These are serious business.
Yeah, front and rear. And you know, obviously that's a great finishing device for those really big unexpected hits when you're moving along.
Yep, absolutely.
Tie rods, we got a stiffer tie rod with higher articulation angle as well. And when you really start getting a lot of wheel travel out of front, high angle displacement ball joints. So the high angle ball joints really help you get into this long travel movements.
So now this whole concept is called the ZR2 off-road concept, right?
That's correct.
And you're looking for feedback. So those of you out there, if you like what you see here, write a comment. I want to see this get into production. I want this to be an option for owners for ZR2 so they can go out and bash their trucks even harder and faster. Mark, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us today. If you like what you saw here today, you can visit us at adventurevehiclereviews.com, on Facebook, Instagram. Until next time, get there.